country update, one day before President Trump's inauguration. Check out the hat. There you go. Okay, let's do like Alex does. Oh, the paper's upside down. Now, okay. I guess I'll start in with the U.S. is working on an EMP artillery shell. I guess it's like a kind of, they couldn't get away with the atomic rifles. I don't know if you've ever seen, if you ever want to see a nuclear documentary that's just fantastic, it's Trinity and Beyond. It's narrated by William Shatner. It's very enlightening on all the nuclear bombs that have been declassified by the U.S. government and around the world while they're blowing crap out of stuff. You can watch this very exciting documentary. Yeah, like Will Shatner. But anyway, the thing about it is I guess this is would be to, well, obviously EMP hard electronics. Think like power grids. I could see it being used as a counter against, say, electronic warfare aircraft. You know, fire it up like a flak burst and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how they do that. Obviously, it would be limited to the range of an artillery shell, which I think the K200 artillery gun can fire a shell 60 kilometers. That's 40 miles. That's pretty impressive to shoot a 50 or 80 pound projectile that far. That's impressive. So, yeah, that's what they're working on. I don't have all the details on it. But, I remember watching the atomic, when they first let out the atomic rifle footage there. Well, it's basically an artillery gun. Vietnam era, or not Vietnam era, it's, I think it was in the 60s, or maybe it was in the 50s. Maybe it was before Vietnam. But anyway, it was one of the, what artillery gun? It's the one there, it was basically, they moved it around on a truck bed all the time. It was like a trailer with an artillery gun on it. And you see the footage of it, and the big mushroom cloud. I've never seen that. Mommy, Daddy, can I have one of those? They're like, no, dear, you'll blow up the neighborhood. I'm like, okay, well, I'll blow up the neighboring neighborhood. I promise. Yeah. You know, would have been a cool kid's toy, but no, you can't have atomic rifles when you're a kid. The Crockett rifle would have been, I think, the best. If you've never seen the Crockett rifle, you need to see the Crockett rifle. I want one so bad. Like, I know you'd die using it, but it'd be fun. You know, up until that point, anyway. Yeah. Okay, Duterte, our favorite guy out there in the Philippines. Again, if you want to see the workings of a dictator in process, this guy, I mean, he's quite the character to begin with, but he has basically said, I will declare martial law to save my nation if I need to. This man is definitely authoritarian, there's no doubt about that. 3,000 plus people have been executed as drug cartels. I think it's very loose how they're doing this. Like most of the, it's like you see it in South America and stuff like that. It's like a witch hunt basically. You know, a guy gets caught with some pot. You're a dealer. You know what I mean? And then they just, you know, there's no due process. Very scary. If you're anybody, I know I have some watchers from the Philippines and stuff like that. You know, let us know what's going on down there. We always want to, you know, it's always good to hear from people down there. You know, like how crazy is he going, really? How many of those guys are CIA guys that he's killing? I don't know, because the drug. That's the thing with these, like the drugs. The guys that grow the dope and stuff like that, they really, them themselves are not the enablers. You know, they're the farmer aspect of it. It's the people who have the ships, the people who have the ports, the people who have the you know, the airplanes and stuff like that. That's the people that are, you know, way up there. That's usually got to be linked to government, because you can't move stuff like that unseen unless you got major connections. And I think that's probably who he's really going after. But I don't know, you know, if he's just killing the druggie on the street, well, you know, he's never going to fix the problem. But they're past the point of rule of law, where it's just like, well, we try to put these people in jail, it doesn't work, okay, we'll just kill them. You know, that's insolvency. So that can happen anywhere. Be mindful of that. But that's what he's out there. And yeah, the Philippines are pretty much, you know, ditching the United States right now. Maybe Trump might be able to come in and win Duterte back, but right now it looks like the Philippines have switched to the Chinese and the Russian side. They're partaking in drills with them. I think we're going to see with the Philippines, like what happened with Egypt. Egypt, you might as well say, has switched to the Russian side. That's why I don't hear anything about them anymore. Egypt, I think, is lost to the New World Order, so to speak. I don't know. I mean, these things go on for a long time, but we'll wait and see. The Pope is to meet with the Palestinian leader. This speech of the two sticks, which I forget which biblical reference there is there, but the two sticks is pretty much, I think, what the Palestinian leader was talking about. How it refers that they'll become one, that type of thing. Trump didn't go to Davos. Neither did Justin Trudeau. Now, Justin Trudeau, he's not doing it because he's a genuine person. Justin Trudeau is in full batshit crazy. How do I lie to the people again and move them over because they're getting kind of pissed at me? If you haven't been, I know some of my American viewers don't follow what goes on in Canada, but you've got to think of it all as one system, like what goes on in Canada, what goes on in the UK. The lady over there in UK, I was about to say Margaret Thatcher. Sorry, not Margaret Thatcher, but the new lady that just took over from Cameron there. Sargon of Akkad did a video on it, her talking about the Brexit. And it sounds pretty good. Like, it sounds like she's Theresa May. It sounds like she's going to actually do something good for the UK for once. I think, okay, no, I'm not one of those male feminists, but I would love to see a woman at least succeed to that. So then, okay, then it's not just, okay, well, she just got her position as whatever. She does sound like a very intelligent woman. I might not agree with all her policies and whatever, but what she is proposing seems very, very, very logical. And it looks like it might come in on a timely fashion. But again, it's not what they say, it's what they do. But it looks like Brexit might, within the 2 years, they're going to have their plan. I don't know if they're doing it as a stall tactic or whatever. I do understand there's like things that, to do overnight. If you were just like, okay, that's it, we're out of here, it would cause such financial calamity for so many people. It would backfire. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. They just sign the, it's the same here with the, like the bankers. Just get rid of them all or whatever. Yeah, but you got to replace them. You got to replace them with something that actually works. Even if it only works half-assed well, half-assed well is better than nothing, right? But she also said, no deal is better than a bad deal for the UK. And in fact, if you listen to her, she has a lot of Trump-like, in a very mild way, she has a lot of Trump-like speech in there. Make it, kind of like a make Britain again, great again. So again, I don't think anybody's going to tear her apart for that because she's not Trump. But she's pretty much adopted a lot of his rhetoric. And the people are responding, they're like, yeah, this is what we want, Trump's not going to Davos because, well, like he said, he goes, it's bad optics. He goes, the populace that elected me are against the world elites. Like, he clearly knows that. I know there's a lot of people think Trump's a stupid man, but I like the way one guy put it on Red Ice there. The guy he was talking to said, okay, you think he's an idiot. Okay, here's a man who took down all the media organizations, won against the bankers' money, won against the hit stories from Clinton and all that, won against both the Democrats and Republican Party, completely took them all down, took down the whole system. He's not a stupid man. This is a man with a plan and backed by very smart people as well. This is a guy that inherited, I forget, something like $40 million I guess from his family inheritance, and turned it into $400 billion or something, $400 billion. I don't know how rich Donald Trump is. And I mean, the audits, which he is he is under audit. That's why, when you hear like the media say, he won't release his record. Well, he can't. Under law, he can't do it. And he says, and I hate it when the media is like, well, he's already given you the explanation. You're still trying to, they're trying to ensue scandal, but there's no scandal. He can't legally let his, he goes, he'll do whatever. Now, mind you, if he doesn't do it after the audit's done, but, the auditors say, oh my God, this Trump business is even bigger than we thought. He's like, yeah, it's a successful business. I told you so, whatever. So he's not going to Davos. Joe Biden was in Davos. Apparently the lights went out on him. A few others went to Davos. Trudeau's not going to Davos because, again, he's on his Please Forgive Me tour. And I like what he's doing. I like what Justin Trudeau's doing. I already did a video on it. I like the concept of the Prime Minister out there talking to the people, in the firing squad, so to speak. I do like that. Now, and here in the eastern side of the country, yeah, he's going to be a little bit more receptive because there's a lot more liberal here. The more west he goes, I don't know. Rebel Media showed the hockey game there with the Oilers, and they showed, in the middle of a hockey rink, you have this big jumbotron, four-sided screen, so everybody, because if you're up in the nosebleed seats there, sometimes, the hockey players like that big to you, and the puck, well, you could. A Canadian can spot the puck, but most people, you got to be superhuman Canadian to be able to follow from the nosebleeds, So they got the big jumbotrons there if you want to see big detail. And then they have like halftime commercials and stuff like that. Justin Trudeau comes on and you just hear the whole stadium, boo, you suck. That type of thing. So Davos, he didn't go this year. He was an embarrassment last year. Why? Because it was the current year. I'm a little concerned because Justin Trudeau hasn't named the current year so far this year. We're 19 days in, and he hasn't, acknowledged the current year. I'm kind of, oh God, what an embarrassment. But anyway, the scandals up here keep going. But that said, Davos, I think they're trying to figure out how do we get it back from Trump. But they're still talking about the one world currency, the cashless society. China's participating in it, that type of thing. And again, these are the people that are getting us into all this craziness. Driverless cars, robot economy. Complete 3D everything. The Rothschild Economist magazine cover, I just did a video on that. It came out yesterday from making this video, I think, or the day before, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, I think it was yesterday. Anyway, the days just blur for me. I did a thing on the the tarot cards that the Rothschild-owned Economist magazine had out there. And one of the things on it, they showed like a virtual reality 3D printing in the housing market and stuff like that in one of the cards. And the thing about that is that, this is... one of the other things you can take out of that was that what they're alluding to is that the housing bubble is going to, give anybody with a pulse a loan, and the housing bubble is still going to go. They just showed on the CBC the most expensive house, I think, in the world on the market right now is like $200 million. It's in LA somewhere. And, it comes with its own helicopter pad and helicopter and a whole bunch of supercars and a candy wall, and there's 4 floors and 21 bathrooms. You get the idea. Just, obscene ridiculousness wealth, right? It's kind of the house that somebody will buy it just to say they own it and never use it. They loan, rent it out to their friends or something like that. Like, it's just unbelievable. But houses like that wouldn't have the value they have if it wasn't for it's a scam. It's not about people just trying to build a home for themselves or whatever. Real estate has become a banker's scam. That's what it, to a great degree. So people are riding the wave while they can. So there is a housing bubble. And that could, another housing bubble, that's pretty much what started the 2000 financial collapse last time. The world is addicted to debt. And you got virtual reality. Well, virtual reality plus robot economy, 3D printing plus robot economy, that's going to put a lot of useless eaters out of work. And there's a lot of people, like even old dogs like myself, I don't learn new tricks easy. If this goes down, I got to go back to the ditch digging. That's literally, kind of the jobs I've done in my life have always been, kind of brute labor jobs. And, I've had a few, retail jobs. But that, like right now, my qualifications on paper, that's all I'm qualified for. So for me to, like, if something happens, YouTube changes its policies, then, at some point, yeah, they're going to close down the channel. I'm already trying to get out ahead of that. But it's like things don't happen fast. It's taken me, since I've been on YouTube since 2007, and I had AdSense in 2010, and I think I got my first check in 2010 or 2011, 2012, like $100 and some odd bucks. And then it was only maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I was able to actually just be able to do this as a full-time thing. But there's no such thing as job security anymore. There never was, but it's even less now, even for people that work in retail jobs. And that's where the danger lies. This is why the bankers want to get us into war so much. And people must understand that when all else fails, we go to war. So Davos, keep an eye on that. A lot of it is being shadowed by the Trump inauguration, but we'll see. Speaking of the inauguration, there was a violent case found by a park in Washington near the inauguration. It had firearms in it. Now this comes out on the warning from the Russians that there might be an assassination attempt, and there's one of Trump's security guys that's just fully paranoid of the inauguration. He's just so worried that, especially with all these over something like 90 or 100 of these leftist groups coming out to cause trouble. It's just within that chaos, boy, a wolf could really hide amongst them, right? So yeah, there's going to be gay people, dancing around or whatever. Okay, I don't care about that. Protest all you want. As long as it's peaceful. But it's the ones that are, talking about chaining up trains and throwing acid stink bombs into the crowd and stuff like that. These are the people that I worry about, because these people are truly violently minded. Operation Veritas, yeah, they're using kind of entrapment to get people, but they are showing the willing participants and how crazy the left has come. Like I say, the left is in Trotsky mode right now. Tear it all down, burn it all down. They're complete, utter psychopaths. And these people don't even, when they say this stuff openly, even on the media, like, oh yeah, we should kill this guy, we should kill that guy. You got all these leftists calling for the assassinations of Trump. Remember when Obama took power? There was this white supremacist guy, neo-Nazi guy, made not even a death threat per se, but something, he was, picture with his rifle, his AR, whatever, and whatever. They arrested that guy. It probably was a good idea, too, because the guy would have had given the chance. You never know. People are crazy enough as it is. And they acted. The government acted. They round the guy up. I don't know what all they did to him, but I think they hauled him away for a couple of months anyway. Charged him with uttering threats or whatever they did. And yet you see in Twitter just, if somebody kills Trump, that'll be good. They should kill Trump. Oh, if I was close, I tell you, if I get the chance, I'm going to kill Trump. And nobody goes to jail. Nobody's investigated. And it's not like the NSA doesn't know about this. You know what I mean? So it's funny how they crack down on one side but not on the other, which again leads to more destabilization in the long run. So there's also the head of security that was so-called fired. Apparently Luke from Change said, no, this guy wasn't fired. He actually quit. So again, we got to watch the fake news. And again, if I find stuff like that, I don't mind correcting myself. I mean, I know some people, this guy always puts out his bullshit. I try to be as factual as I can. Again, I don't have the CNN budget to actually vet my story. If I did, trust me, you guys would be getting spectacular news. There'd be, and a lot of debunking too. But yeah, we got to keep it real, and that's something I always want. So if you guys find that the story wasn't what I said, and sometimes that happens. I mean, look, in my last update, how many tanks are actually going to Eastern Europe? Is it 2,000? Is it 3,500? Or is it 187? You know what I mean? Like, what number is it? Because these things are floating out there. All we say is that we know there's tanks going there for sure. And I think it's like, okay, what the plan is, and again, you check into it for yourself, because I could be wrong, is that they're going to do 187 this year, or 187 a month for the next, until they get to 3,000 or whatever. All we know is it's ongoing, and it's escalating, right? So, that type of thing. And that goes from Estonia to Bulgaria. And this is Atlantic Resolve. And yeah, so there's it's going to go on for like 9 months rotation in 7 countries. Okay, so I couldn't believe this. It's that Jimmy whatever guy from Young Turks. The guy with the glasses there. I don't find him that funny, but sometimes the guy can actually do something. I mean, you wouldn't get this from Cenk, but you got it from him. And I actually was very impressed that he actually did his homework. And, I don't agree with the left on many things, but when they're anti-war and anti-nuclear war, okay, we're going to shake hands on that one. And, yeah, so good on him. Credit where credit's due, Yeah, UK and France are going to be, France and Germany are going to Lithuania. They're sending soldiers to Lithuania. UK is going to Poland and Bulgaria. So, of this NATO drill, like, you got people moving all over, and then the States, I guess, is pretty much through all of them. Somebody just, I didn't get to read I try to read all your messages as possible. Somebody said that they were in Eastern Europe, and yeah, they said, about 2,000 U.S. troops just went through, I guess. I don't know if they said the other night or the week ago, because I just skimmed through it really quick. But thanks for that. And again, that's why I would say post your links down, like your links and your comments down below for others to read. Because let's say I get something wrong, and something, hey, dude, he got this wrong, and stuff like that. And you guys are pretty good at that. Sometimes, though, you guys can kind of duke it out there. You guys should be friends by now. But some of you, there's about 4 of you that I notice every time one guy says one, the other guy's like right off of that. And you guys probably know who you are. You got there's like it's 2 guys and 2 guys, and they're always like just tearing each other apart. I laugh because it's kind of like funny, like it's like you're like frenemies or something. That's good. That's good. It's like, no. But that's good. That's the whole point, is to open the dialogue and have people take it. Maybe from how am I doing for time here? From different points of view, because there's things I might not think of. Things others might not think of. And say, hey, yeah, but maybe this might be a good idea or a bad idea because whatever. That's why I never censor my comments. That type. Even the disturbing comment I got, and I don't even know how to respond to this guy. The virtuous pedophile guy? Well, he actually responded to one of my videos. And I was just like, how do I respond to this guy? I'm not what you would call an SJW and get triggered, but when it comes to the children, I can get. But anyway, I appreciate that he commented, but it's so disturbing. But it's kind of one of those things that, if I don't take initiative here and respond, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? You know what I mean? Like, and why should I put that on somebody else? That type of thing. And I do want to respond. It's just that the issue makes me so mad, so that I got to really think of my response before. Like it is a mental challenge. I mean, yeah. But anyway, he responded to one of my videos, and he was, I guess I mentioned him, not by name, but because I had seen it's the guy in the salon video there, the virtuous pedophile, I think is the name of it. It's on, I checked out his channel, and as soon as I saw the guy's picture, and it's so disturbing because he has pictures of kids up there, and I'm just like, again, because they're trying to legalize this, right? And they're not going to legalize it overnight. What they're doing is they're buttering it up to it's kind of how gender neutral came in the 90s. Now we don't have any gender identity whatsoever. We have pronouns, not, you know what I mean? It's a program, right? So very scary, very scary. Halifax International Security Forum. Watch this. I just caught, I guess, maybe the last 10, 20 minutes of it on CPAC. For those of you who don't have CPAC, if you really... I thought there was a dog on the top of my uncle's car there driving by. He's got the garbage bag on top. I was like, why is Lacey on the hood of the car? Standing on the car. Anyway, this Halifax Security Forum, CPAC, I mean, if you really want to know what's going on in your country, watch the government. You don't have to watch it all day, but at least watch about an hour or so a day of it, just to see what these people, like, this isn't media spin, this isn't bias, like watching like CNN or like that. No, this is right from the horse's mouth. You're watching what's taking place on Parliament Hill, in my case, and you're watching what is taking place in the legislators, in the committees, that type of thing. And you're seeing firsthand what our government is talking about, what our government is up to, etc., etc. And CPAC is good about stuff like that. And you had people, you have a couple of U.S. generals on the panel. You had people from NATO, people from, just in all rainbows of the political spectrum. And yeah, you had, but the thing is that they were all bewildered how Trump won. Like they're still shocked and awe. They don't understand how Trump won. And a lot of people in the government don't understand how Trump won. Because you have to understand is, you have the government, the people who work for the government, and then you have civilization. And I'm not saying everybody in the government is bad. No, I'm not saying that. But they're so compartmentalized that, okay, here's your sheet, this is what you got to process. Okay, and you do that. Nobody in the government is saying, well, why are we doing this? Okay, well, no, they hired us to work. We just do the work. We're not here to ask questions. We're just here to process papers. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And a lot of government workers don't understand that because they are so out of touch with the populace. The populace is the ones that have to really live with these policies. And the people at the upper government, not the people that are at the top, but the people that are just below the top. I think a lot of them don't really truly know what's going on. And they tend to be a little bit closed-minded when it comes to that because they can't see the forest for the trees. Like the generals that are sitting there having a meeting and then see Mr. Kissinger walking down the hallway. Why is this man even there? You know what I mean? Like, what does he have to do with anything? Why is he sitting down with their presidents and prime ministers and what have you? George Soros. What is George Soros doing stumbling around the White House, that type of thing? Maybe not the White House, but the Congress. In the hallways there sometimes. What is this man doing there? Why are our world leaders meeting with this man? You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that these people don't understand. And one of the guys was saying that, Russia wasn't killing... Russia was a big part of the discussion. Russia wasn't killing rebels or killing ISIS. They were killing the rebels. But what this guy fails to realize is ISIS is the rebels. Rebels are ISIS. They're indistinguishable from each other. The U.S. State Department has openly admitted this. We don't know where these weapons are really going. We don't know who's getting them. We know they are ending up in the hands of ISIS. And, we can't vet anybody. Again, that footage of that U.S. general out there saying, ask that, in Congress, so you spent $50 million or $500 million, whatever ridiculous amount it was, to train moderate rebels. How many did you train for that? 4, maybe 5 guys? 4 or 5? Is it 4 or is it 5? For $500 million, I want to know if it's at least 4 or 5. Give me a definite number. You know what I mean? Like the insanity of it. It's like, oh yeah, like you blow the gasket here. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. So these guys, and this guy's probably saying, he's probably saying, I got to answer this question. How did this even get to that? Like, whose asshole did he chew out for? After we rigged over the coals like that. I mean, it's like, you mean we spent that much, and I got to go and fall on my sword? Like, who fucked this up? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, it catches these people off guard. They're completely unaware of what's really going on, and they're so close to it. And that's when Alex Jones talks about the government people who are compartmentalized. They don't see they don't see themselves as cogs in the wheel. You know what I mean? Like, they don't see themselves as the gears there, and they can't see the greater picture of it, and that type of thing. So, yeah, these people are baffled, and that also makes it dangerous because they don't realize that. Okay, yeah, I think the CIA does make a point. They don't, maybe Trump is underestimating Russia's abilities. To take over the world, kind of thing. And if the Russians had the chance to do it, they'd do it. Of course they'd do it. But they're not doing it. They're not trying to take over the world. Are they trying to take over Eastern Europe? You could debate that one. I mean, that's been ongoing for, the Soviet Empire. It's been what's now known as Eastern Europe and Russia. I mean, in medieval times, you go back 1,000 years, there's always been skirmishes between kings and czars and stuff like that. There's a bloody history there, that type of thing. But just going from the communism, say starting in the late 40s, early 50s, or even back in the early 1900s, with the communism and stuff like that, and how, Bolshevism and all that stuff, expansion there. Yeah, a lot of that has kind of backed off, that type of thing. And yeah, the Eastern Europeans, they definitely don't want a reoccurrence of Stalinism or Leninism or, whatever next, nut job, communist, whatever. They don't like they're terrified of the Russians taking over there. Finland, I mean, same thing. They're terrified of the Russians. You know what I mean? Having to go toe to toe with them. They did okay during World War II, but times have changed. The Soviet Empire's no longer there, but the Russian Federation is. And the thing with the Russian Federation, though, I think they just want to do, like Putin, again, good guy, bad guy, it's hard to say. His Christmas speech was excellent. If you haven't listened to that, this is why he can win the populism. And if Donald Trump, though, one thing that was said at this Halifax forum is that, and again, all these people that were talking about NATO expansion and stuff like that. Some people brought it up, say, okay, well, yeah, Trump's bad, Putin's bad, Trump's bad, Putin's bad. But say, look. One guy, he summed it up well. He goes, I worked during the Reagan administration, and when he got in, everybody, oh my God, we're going to go to World War III over the Star Wars program, et cetera, et cetera. And it didn't happen. So maybe we should give Trump a chance, And he said the other thing, too, is if Trump's willing to work with Putin, that might be, better for humanity. Even Trump said that. He goes, I don't know if I'm going to get along with Putin or not. And Putin is very signaling big time to work with Trump. He's completely signaling. But I also think Putin's also trying to get out ahead of this one. For the last past 8 years, or even a little bit longer, but really the last past 8 years, but really since 2010 when the NDRP was signed by Obama to basically ramp up war, prepare for war with Russia. And we've seen the military escalation just go crazy since then. And I would love to see an official acknowledgement that we are in a second Cold War, because we truly are. I mean, with this much, the first Cold War didn't have this much militarization. It not even close. Maybe about a quarter of this. I mean, the line stabilized, but right now we just got build up after build up after build up. And the thing about that is, we look at it and we see Putin. Okay, he's had pretty much 8 years to bash Obama, and basically all the Putin regime has had to do is tell the truth to make the U.S. look bad. Just tell the truth about U.S. foreign policy, and it just falls apart. And it's worked. It has worked. The Russians, using like RT today, and yes, that's a Russian propaganda machine. Everybody knows that. They're never critical of Russia. So okay, fine, but it doesn't mean they're not factual. I think RT does do a very good job. Might not agree with them on RT America is a little bit strange, and they kind of rub me the wrong way. But RT News seems pretty good, and the thing is that all they have to do is just expose what the U.S. is doing, and it makes them look bad at every angle, which makes the bankers look bad, and the globalists look bad, makes globalism look bad, which globalism is failing anyway. It was a bad idea anyway, and it's a weird, bizarre thing when all the Russians have to do is tell the truth. Now, that said, and again, I don't trust Putin as far as you can throw him. There are no good guys in this. I've said this several times. I don't even know if Trump's going to be a good guy. I think it's just shady grays of that gray area of are they going to get us killed or not. And the thing with Trump coming in, it's now the role's going to reverse, because Trump is coming in from a position of power, from a position of strength. And all the landmines that Obama set up for Trump can be used as bargaining chips against Russia. This is where Trump can call Putin's bluff, which is going to be great for the Russians if Putin goes along, because it's like we can't backtrack on a deal. With Trump, a deal's a deal. That's the thing with Trump. A deal's a deal. You honor that deal, or there's going to be hell to pay. And at the Halifax Forum, the guy that was saying, "Yeah, I worked in the Reagan administration," goes, "One thing about Trump," he goes, "you got to give him a little bit of credit, because even if you don't like him or whatever, something along that lines," I'm just paraphrasing what he was trying to get at, was he goes, "The thing you need to consider is this guy's an egomaniac. Everybody knows that. God help Putin if he crosses Trump." And, yeah, I think so. I don't think Putin's going to outplay Trump, because Trump, yes, he plays chess. Obama was playing checkers. Putin is a thinking man. He's a diplomat. Trump is just a bull in a china shop. He's a bull in a china shop. No matter what angle you take him at, he'll just charge at you. You can probably use that to him to a degree, but not to too much of a degree, because he takes you down with him. And again, just look. Trump is made out of Teflon. Nothing sticks to him. You can accuse him of just about anything right now. He hasn't lost a populist. The populism is on his side pretty much globally. And the mainstream media and government workers and stuff like that, they don't get this. That you guys are isolated here, ruling over all these people that have been disenfranchised by globalism and stuff like that. People are losing their jobs, and the people that had good jobs are now working part-time jobs or crappy service sector jobs. There's no future for it. The wealth is leaving the people, and the wealth is going into these people who keep stealing from the poor. All the wealthiest people on the planet right now, they've gotten bailouts. That's why, like the Koch brothers. How the hell are the Koch brothers not homeless, living on the street when they declared bankruptcy in 2008? It's because they got freaking bailouts from the government, and not just them, but the whole cabal of them. These aren't wealthy people. These are thieves. These are people, and the people see it. They're like, okay, well, they do fraud. They do this. Nobody goes to jail, and we bail them out as their punishment. So that's why Trump won. And drain the swamp, get rid of the corruption. That's why Trump won. And people in the government, there's people that work in government departments. Very few of them view what they do as corruption, but is what it is. Anyway, I can go on forever. But that was an interesting thing to listen to, that type of thing. It's like some of them got it, and some of them just don't get it at all.
biases or not, like they just don't understand why Trump won. And the left is still spinning in their, like they're doubling down and tripling down. They're in freak out mode because they don't know what's going on. A number has come out to me about Israel getting something like $10.2 billion a day to Israel. Got to cut that from Israel. That'll make them behave. U.S. sanctions lifted in on the nuke treaty there over there for Iran. They're still talking about that. Now, I think Trump is going to put those sanctions back on. Right now, and I got it on the other side here, I'll just jump to this. Iran has got they've been buying about 200 metric tons of caked uranium, and that's what they got, and they're trying to get another 120 tons this year. Now, this comes on the Obama deal of, basically selling uranium. So it looks like the Iranians are stockpiling the uranium, so that if the sanctions go in the future, they're already taken care of. And once again, North Korea does pop into this. It looks like all those tunnels, they're like 1,500 feet underground, 1,500 feet long, 500 feet underground. They're bunker buster proof unless you can get one right down the shaft, mine shaft. But to do that without getting shot down, yeah, good luck on that one. And basically these tunnels are like 1,500, feet long, packed full of God knows how many missiles they got. Nobody really knows what Iran has. And like I've said, there's a connection between North Korea and Iranian scientists, working on their nuclear program. There was that North Korean cargo ship that went in 2010 that was intercepted, bringing missiles and missile technology to the Iranians. So I think they are working hand in hand. North Korea doesn't do trade with too many people. China, Russia, Iran, I think is about it. I don't know if there's anybody else on their list. I don't think so. So we know that the technology is there. Now, at the end of the day, the North Koreans, the missile technology that they're displaying is very China-esque in origin, which makes sense. The Chinese would be giving them missile technology. Probably in little stages, that type of thing. Probably like, okay, well, we'll give them the B-grade technology, that type of thing. That's probably what the Chinese do. Because the Chinese, they don't ever want to have North Korea actually have enough strength to go against the Chinese, right? The Chinese, at the end of the day, kind of run North Korea to a degree, although Kim Jong-un is a bit of a rogue. But how much of a rogue, I don't know. I don't think he's too much of a rogue because he's crazy, but he's not stupid. He understands that if I roll on China, they're going to let South Korea and the United States just take us out. Now, China needs North Korea because that's a buffer zone. Useful idiots are useful, right? Over Israel, the 70 nations, I thought it was 17, but it's 70 nations, are talking about the, two-state solution. And this peace summit, basically Israel's not happy about this at all. Netanyahu's been freaking threatening war with New Zealand, so to be saying that's an act of war. It's like whatever. And the Israeli freakout, I think, is just going to go really bizarre by the end of the year. The thing is that, how am I doing for time? The Israelis, what's happening is, you got a bit of a strange thing going on, and again, this is where I kind of worry about Trump. The people he surrounds himself. He's definitely running with the Zionist crowd, bankers, the Goldman Sachs guys, that type of thing. And there is a very pro-Israel stance on, which worries me, because they want to have a two-state solution, which will take away the Wailing Wall or something like that. You'll have to look into what all it is. I say leave the lines where they are. That would be probably the safest thing to do. But let the Israel. I mean, there's no reason for us to even be there. Let the Israelis and Palestinians work it out however they're going to work it out. But there's also Trump wants to move the embassy, the U.S. embassy, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Which, if you want to piss off the Muslims, there you go, right? So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. That's what the talk is. We have to wait and see what happens. But I think the Israeli freakout is going to get very violent. My hunch, and again, we'll have to watch for this again. Don't be afraid to go over some of my older World War III updates. Because sometimes stuff we talked about 2 years ago, you're starting to see now. These are long drawn-out plans. And they don't always go to plan. They have to again, these bankers, they never quit. They just try to find a new way to reroute. So when Henry Kissinger was trying to, I think it was in 2002 or 2005, met with the Israelis, said, okay, you guys have to strike Iran. You got to take out Iran. And the Israelis said, yes, but you guys have to take out Syria for us. And that's what was reportedly agreed upon. And there's been a few kind of, I wouldn't even say whistleblowers, but just admissions of that. And that's what this whole Syria thing started to come down to. But Syria, Syria was about to fall, and then the Russians came in. And I think Syria now is pretty much locked down. Now, in this process, what has Syria done? Well, number one, they have strengthened Hezbollah. They've given Hezbollah tanks. The communist Lebanese army works with Hezbollah. And Lebanon, I'm going to keep asking about the communist Lebanese army. I got that off of South Front a while back, and it's a small faction in Lebanon that they refer to themselves as. So you got Hezbollah. You got a whole bunch of different factions in there. And they're working with Hezbollah. And basically every now and then when Lebanon and Israel fire artillery at each other, it usually comes amidst, the Israelis do a preemptive strike or whatever in Lebanon, and then, the Lebanese fire back, and then the Israel, oh my God, they're attacking us. They lash out in pain as they strike you. This has recently happened in Syria. Of course, the Israelis have denied their airstrike around the airport. But, the Israelis, I don't know how many strikes they did last year, like 5, 6 strikes. They've done strikes in Iran, but they can't get the nuclear facility. It's too locked down now with the S-300 missile systems. I think because there is S-300 missile systems in Syria, why didn't the Israeli airplanes get shot down? Because there's a couple of things here. Number one, Trump is a day away from inauguration, and that happened about a week ago. The Russians probably say, even because the idea is to provoke a shoot down. If the Israelis get shot down over Iran, not too many people the U.S. isn't really going to be able to respond against that, because technically that is definitely an act of war, and Israel provoked it. Preemptive strikes are provoking. So, but Syria, the U.S. has been trying to find ways to get U.S. soldiers directly into Syria, boots on the ground, and it hasn't really been working. It doesn't really seem to be working. And because of that, it's okay, well, maybe if we can get the Syrians to shoot down an Israeli jet, say, oh, look, Assad's attacking Israel, maybe, okay, well, then we got to go in there. But I don't think they're going to be able to get in that way, because it's like the Turks shooting down the Russian airliner. The Russians, again, they know that the eye on the prize is the best. It's a chess move, block, attack, or retreat, and they really have one move here. Just, retreat, don't do anything. Let them do that, and it just makes them look bad, and looks bad, and looks bad. Look, they keep striking us, they struck our guys, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And it's the U.S. foreign policy, we want, we're trying to, take out the terrorists, and they're killing our guys. And the optics are so bad on it. So I think what they're going to do is try to make the link between Hezbollah and Syria. And this will come on probably through a conflict between Israel and Lebanon, because the Israelis, by way of deception, right, get something going on between Lebanon and Israel, give the Israelis the excuse to attack Israel, get Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, and Syria, and say, look, Hezbollah is basically getting tanks and equipment from Assad and from Iran. We have to go with it. We have to take out that regime. That's the way I think they're going to try to do it, and I think Trump will go along with that. Problem with that is, how are the Russians going to counter? Because the Russians have to look at that. Once the idea, again, was it Rumsfeld? Whichever guy it was that came out and said, yeah, we're going to attack 7 countries, 5 countries, 7 countries in 5 years. And again, if you look at that plan, this was admitted in 2009. All these countries are now being attacked by the United States, in the name of fighting terrorism, but they're arming the terrorists, right? So, and people are seeing it. They're seeing it, and they're seeing who's up at the top: Soros, Kissinger, Brzezinski, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Clintons, Bushes, Obamas, Blairs, right? So, anyway, if you're out there in California, there's a couple of SB 18, SB 1322, SB 277. Basically, these are, this is your stepping stones to legalizing pedophilia. Right now, childhood prostitution, they're decriminalizing it. Stuff like that, because they're like, well, they're victims or whatever, and we're not going to, but they're enabling it. And you got to go look at those bills. Very, very terrifying. Yeah. And, New York Times publishes the article, Virtuous Pedophile, not a crime, it's a sexual orientation. It's out there. The Salon, New York Times. Yeah. Again, this is the world we live in, and we got to fight back on that one. Yeah, U.S. is invited to Kazakhstan for the Syrian peace talks, which Russia, Iran, Syria, and rebel groups are going to, actual groups are going to be there. So this isn't like, this is not the Obama administration. They're inviting the Trump administration to go there. Iran does not want this. They don't want the U.S. a part of the talks, but it would, it would be better. The thing is that this is amongst the fighting factions. How can they get a ceasefire? So the thing about that is, obviously Russia and Iran don't agree with the United States on the, basically, John Kerry, you listen to him time and time again, Greater Israel Project. Again, it always comes back to the Greater Israel Project. We're going to Balkanize the Middle East. We'll just give every little tribal region what they want. And yes, we'll have the two-state solution in Israel, whatever, just to make it look good. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, it is the Greater Israel Project. You look at the Greater Israel Project, the Samson option, the Clerically Plan, and of course the Balfour Declaration, which led to the 1948 creation of the Israeli state, right? So that type of thing. So, or settlements anyway, the settlements. So those are the things to look at. And when you understand these plans, then you can understand what you're looking at too. Of course, these are not officially on the books because people would, they would reject them, and they are rejecting them. This is why Trump is winning. This is why Brexit is happening. People are rejecting those plans. The question is, how are they going to try to hijack those plans? So stuff we've got to keep an eye on. Moody's and DB Bank basically $800 million fine to those guys for gold and metals rigging. So again, these big banks all the time, nobody goes to jail. They just get a fine, and they'll just basically how they pay the fine. You pay for it through fees and stuff like that. So people need to go to jail. Davos 2017 I already kind of mentioned. I guess it's pretty clear that with Davos, every time things are mentioned in Davos, the world changes. Driverless cars, that was the big one last year. Seems to be a big one this year. Robot economy, how do we become so efficient? Look, even Adolf Hitler talked about this, and again, I'm not a Hitler fan. He had some good ideas, some bad ideas. This is one of the ideas he talked about, was over-automation of a society would put too many people out of work. And this is what the world elites, these people are not normal people. They don't function in reality in society. They've got billions of dollars. Well, this is why we need the universal income of $20,000. And I think Finland has already taken a stab at it. It's going to fail. First off, how do you pay for it? You know what I mean? How do you pay for it? How do you guarantee? And the fact that you're not allowed, unless you're a part of the privileged class, to make more than $20,000 a year, again, it's welfare. It's not going to work. So, yeah, it sounds noble and egalitarian, but it doesn't really work. There's no way of backing it. It's not a practical thing. Could it work? There's a possibility it could work, but where would you get the money? I mean, would you be taking it from the profits from the bank? That's a possibility. But then you're not guaranteed $20,000 a year, that type of thing. So you'd have to find some sort of revenue-generating thing that could actually pay, because the taxes themselves, people are not going to be able to pay the taxes themselves. That's like basically every human being in your country working for the government. It's maybe, part-time, we'll say. The average government employee costs about $140,000 a year in Canada. Some of them are more, but that's if you add up all the benefits and everything like that. Way too much. Way too much. And the thing is to add, basic 36 million people, give or take the children or whatever, to basically give them 20 grand a year. How? You know what I mean? Like you couldn't do that here. 318 million in the States. 2 billion in India? Like, how the hell are you going to do that? 20 grand a year? How? This is why they want a one world currency, so they could do stuff like that. And it's just basically print. For 20 grand a year, yeah, my living quality would go up because I doubt I make that a year. I don't make very much, but maybe but my potential could go up past that, on my own. So that's what they want to remove, and it's again these elites. They microchip everybody that they're talking about that, the cashless society of microchips. Very transhumanist at Davos. but it's all the world elites, and people are starting to reject that. Think about it. You've got two big things here, okay? You got Donald Trump not going to Davos. Why? Because it's bad optics. Okay, that's one thing. Trudeau definitely not going to Davos because it's horrible optics for him. Yes, the CBC, oh, well, he's talking with the people, yeah, and the people aren't happy. Even the people that kind of, because Canadians are typically polite. Like, we bitch like crazy about our politicians, but we're going to be polite to your face for the most part. But the fact is that even this kind of, apology tour that he's on or whatever, again, Trudeau is one man. How much of a puppet is he? I don't know. He is an ideologue. That's what goes against him. He's completely brainwashed in his ideology. I don't think he's evil at heart. I think he truly believes that everybody can live off of the government. He's not a normal guy. He's never understood a hard day's work. He does acknowledge that, yeah, well, I'm privileged. I grew up extremely wealthy, that type of thing. But on the other hand, that's why he's not really one of the people. He is the elites. He is in that class. Yes, I would liken him to, is it David the Rothschild? The young Rothschild there. Justin Trudeau and David the Rothschild, I don't know as much about David the Rothschild, but that kind of philanthropist, egalitarian, we're going to make a utopian on the world, that type of thing. It's kind of like that, where it's just like, okay, you really don't get what it means to live in the real world. There's things that he can't even process or consider. And I don't think it's because he doesn't have them and he's not smart enough to. It's because he's an ideologue and it's a religion. Progressivism is a religion. He refers to himself more of a progressive than he does a liberal. You know what I mean? He goes, the Liberal Party, I'm a progressive. You know what I mean? Look at how he dealt with the transgender over there in Halifax. Or Nova Scotia. Kingston, Ontario there. You got a transgender saying that they want to be able to be put in basically women's prisons because, we want to go with our pronoun or whatever. Oh, he goes, well, I'll look into it. Da, da, da. And I believe he will. I believe he'll push that, because that's the progressive lefty thing to do. It's a virtue signal, right? And mind you, everybody in the audience is kind of like, awkward when this guy was speaking. And, again, there's just no realism there, Good day, and welcome. All right, I got a World War III update. One day before President Trump's inauguration. Check out that. There you go. Okay, let's do like Alex. Oh, the paper's upside down. Now, okay. I guess I'll start in with the U.S. is working on an EMP artillery shell. I guess it's like a kind of, they couldn't get away with the atomic rifles. I don't know if you've ever seen that. If you ever want to see a nuclear documentary, that's just fantastic. It's Trinity and Beyond. It's narrated by William Shatner. It's very enlightening about all the nuclear bombs that have been declassified by the U.S. government and around the world while they're blowing crap at stuff. You can watch this very exciting documentary. Like Will Shatner. But anyway, the thing about it is I guess this is would be to, well, obviously EMP hard electronics. Think like power grids. I could see it being used as a counter against, say, electronic warfare aircraft. Fired up like a flak burst and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how they use it. Obviously, it would be limited to the range of an artillery shell, which I think the K200 artillery gun can fire a shell 60 kilometers. That's 40 miles. That's pretty impressive to shoot a 50 or 80 pound projectile that far. That's impressive. So, yeah, that's what they're working on. I don't have all the details on it. But, I remember watching the atomic, when they first let out the atomic rifle footage there. Well, it's basically an artillery gun. Vietnam era, or not Vietnam era. It's, I think it was in the 60s, or maybe it was in the 50s. Maybe it was before Vietnam. But anyway, it was one of the, what artillery gun? It's the one there, it was basically, they moved it around on a truck bed all the time. It was like a trailer with an artillery gun on it. And you see the footage of it, and the big mushroom cloud. I've never seen that. Mommy, Daddy, can I have one of those? They're like, no, dear, you'll blow up the neighborhood. I'm like, okay, well, I'll blow up the neighboring neighborhood. I promise. Yeah. Would have been a cool kid's toy, but no, you can't have atomic rifles when you're a kid. The Crockett rifle would have been, I think, the best. If you've never seen the Crockett rifle, you need to see the Crockett rifle. I want one so bad. Like, I know you'd die using it, but it'd be fun. Up until that point, anyway. Yeah. Okay, Duterte, our favorite guy out there in the Philippines. Again, if you want to see the workings of a dictator in process, this guy, I mean, he's quite the character to begin with, but he has basically said, I will declare martial law to save my nation if I need to. This man is definitely authoritarian, there's no doubt about that. 3,000 plus people have been executed as drug cartels. I think it's very loose how they're doing this. Like most of it's like you see it in South America and stuff like that. It's like a witch hunt, basically. A guy gets caught with some pot. You're a dealer, you know what I mean? And then they just, there's no due process. Very scary. If you're anybody, I know I have some watchers from the Philippines and stuff like that. Let us know what's going on down there. We always want to, it's always good to hear from people down there. Like how crazy is he going, really? How many of those guys are CIA guys that he's killing? I don't know, because the drug. That's the thing with these, like the drugs. The guys that grow the dope and stuff like that, they really. Them themselves are not the enablers. They're the farmer aspect of it. It's the people who have the ships, the people who have the ports, the people who have the the airplanes and stuff like that. That's the people that are way up there. That's usually got to be linked to government, because you can't move stuff like that unseen unless you got major connections. And I think that's probably who he's really going after. But I don't know. If he's just killing the druggie on the street, well, he's never going to fix the problem. But they're past the point of rule of law, where it's just like, well, we try to put these people in jail, it doesn't work. Okay, we'll just kill them. That's insolvency. So that can happen anywhere. Be mindful of that. But that's what he's out there. And yeah, the Philippines are pretty much ditching the United States right now. Maybe Trump might be able to come in and win Duterte back, but right now it looks like the Philippines have switched to the Chinese and the Russian side. They're partaking in drills with them. I think we're going to see with the Philippines like what happened with Egypt. Egypt, you might as well say, has switched to the Russian side. That's why I don't hear anything about them anymore. Egypt, I think, is lost to the New World Order, so to speak. I don't know. I mean, these things go on for a long time, but we'll wait and see. The Pope is to meet with the Palestinian leader. This speech of the two sticks, which I forget which biblical reference there is there, but the two sticks is pretty much, I think, what the Palestinian leader was talking about. How it refers that they'll become one, that type of thing. Trump didn't go to Davos, neither did Justin Trudeau. Now, Justin Trudeau, he's not doing it because he's a genuine person. Justin Trudeau is in full batshit crazy. How do I lie to the people again and move them over because they're getting kind of pissed at me? If you haven't been, I know some of my American viewers don't follow what goes on in Canada, but you've got to think of it all as one system. Like what goes on in Canada, what goes on in the UK. The lady over there in UK, I was about to say Margaret Thatcher. Sorry, not Margaret Thatcher, but the new lady that just took over from Cameron there. Sargon of Akkad did a video on it, her talking about the Brexit, and it sounds pretty good. Like, it sounds like she's Theresa May. It sounds like she's going to actually do something good for the UK for once. I think, okay, no, I'm not one of those male feminists, but I would love to see a woman at least succeed to that. So then, okay, then it's not just, okay, well, she just got her position as whatever. She does sound like a very intelligent woman. I might not agree with all her policies and whatever, but what she is proposing seems very, very, very logical. And it looks like it might come in on a timely fashion. But again, it's not what they say, it's what they do. But it looks like Brexit might, within the 2 years, they're going to have their plan. I don't know if they're doing it as a stall tactic or whatever. I do understand there's like things that, to do overnight. If you were just like, okay, that's it, we're out of here, it would cause such financial calamity for so many people. It would backfire. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. They just sign the, like, yeah, it's the same here with the, like the bankers. Just get rid of them all or whatever. Yeah, but you got to replace them. You got to replace them with something that actually works. Even if it only works half-assed well, half-assed well is better than nothing, right? But she also said, no deal is better than a bad deal for the UK. And in fact, if you listen to her, she has a lot of Trump-like, in a very mild way, she has a lot of Trump-like speech in there. Make it, kind